All right. Well,
Speed clapping.
now we're ready. Welcome back to Sorry Spider Films, the Review Dudes. This is Josh.
This is Jason.
And PJ.
And we're going to do something a little bit different today. Not quite fully in the realm of horror, but we're going to be talking about The Batman.
The Batman.
We had to.
Yeah, of course. So, the Batman ventures into Gotham City's underworld when a sadistic killer leaves behind a trail of cryptic clues. As the evidence begins to lead closer to home and the scale of the perpetrator's plans become clear, he must forge new relationships, unmask the culprit, and bring justice to the abuse of power and corruption that has long plagued the metropolis.
That's a really long sentence.
Yeah, it is.
It just keeps running and running.
It's like I wrote that sentence.
Directed by Matt Reeves. And listen, you guys all know what it is. It's been the talk of the town.
So what's really funny to me is I started listening to our last podcast, which took us a couple weeks to get out and get up online and whatever, and that was like part of the conversation was talking about the Batman and how I was like, I'm not that excited for it, but you guys are.
This is gonna be lame.
I was going to actually bring that up because you were like, it was so good, right?
It was so good. I was very surprised.
And of course, with all of our podcasts so far, this will be very spoiler heavy. So if you haven't watched it, what the hell are you doing? Go watch the Batman. Come back, watch us. Watch us first, spoil it for yourself. Whatever, I don't care.
Who cares? Whatever.
Get a hold of us. We'll come watch it again with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can do that. We can hold your hand.
Yeah.
I'm not holding
Leg
your
on the
hand.
thigh.
That's where hands are.
Yeah.
It's growing out of
Right on the
thighs.
thigh.
Leg on your thigh is what you said, though.
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Hand on the thigh.
Oh man. All right, so right off the bat, what do you guys think overall?
Wait a minute. Can I interject this
Oh
real
yeah,
quick?
sure, of course.
I just want to say, I've kind of been like jumping around watching a couple different things on this. Christian Bale's interview, they were asking him like, what do you think about Robert Pattinson becoming Batman? He goes, it's great. Let him do his own thing. You know, a lot of people thought it was weird when...
Michael Keaton?
No.
Affleck.
No, the Joker. Heath
Shadow.
Ledger.
Heath
When
Ledger.
Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker, everybody was like in an uproar about it and like look at his Joker. And Christian Bale's professionalism about somebody else taking on this role, and it was just awesome to see. He was just like 100% for it. Like, yeah, absolutely. Like, do you. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Now we can get into stuff.
Now we can, which just kind of touching base on that. Apparently, he had given Robert Pattinson and Ben Affleck the exact same advice for playing Batman.
Zipper.
Yeah,
Make sure there's a zipper.
have a way that you can pee by yourself.
I liked Ben Affleck's Batman.
I think a lot of people did more than they expected to, because like I remember getting pissed about it when it first happened, because everybody was tainted by the whole Daredevil thing. But
Yeah,
it's like it wasn't really his fault. It was more of a directorial thing anyway.
it was kind of his fault too.
I mean,
He was
Let's face
cast
it.
as the director for one of those. I think he was cast as the director for Batman vs Superman.
I know that.
I thought he was cast. I thought he was going to be director for The Batman, which was supposed to be his
Right.
Batman movie.
This was before Affleck was Batman, because I can
Oh, okay.
remember somebody said Ben Affleck has come on as the director for Batman vs Superman, and in that moment I said, I guarantee you, Ben Affleck will be Batman.
Yeah, but I tell you what, look wise, I still think he's the most comic accurate looking.
He
Batman.
looks like the Bruce
Yeah.
Wayne from the New 52
Right,
run.
right.
And that's kind of why I was like, I don't think he did too bad. And he was the billionaire. Oh, I bought the bank.
right.
I am rich. Like, he was the He played the actor,
and he
the
really didn't
character
have
well.
enough screen time as either Bruce Wayne or Batman to even in Batman v Superman was like, it's not his movie. I mean, he's a big
Right.
part of it, but we never got to see the Batfleck movie.
Which is why I was really looking forward to like his Batman movie, and then
Right.
of course everything just kind of changed.
Yeah,
you know?
and he was kind of like just a cameo in almost everything.
Right.
And that was kind of like the big thing was hearing about the Batman. I was expecting this to be Ben Affleck's standalone movie.
Yeah.
And then hearing Robert Pattinson got cast as Bruce Wayne Batman, I was like, oh man, I'm not on board with that.
Right.
Until I started seeing
Yeah.
trailers, really.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
when
think a
got
lot
on
of
board.
people were confused of like, why is this another Batman thing coming out so soon? And whatever, but like, and because I was thinking that way for sure. I'm like, why do we need so many different Batman things happening? But at the same time, when it comes out and it's amazing, it's like, well, I can't argue with this anymore.
Right.
I'll just let it happen.
I'm not even going to lie. I'll watch anything Batman that comes out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a sucker for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice breath, Josh.
Swoon.
Swoon Batman.
All right, Josh, since you're heavy breathing, let's hear what you thought of this movie.
I would absolutely add it to collection. I thought just overall it was incredibly solid. Like the casting I thought was perfect for everybody. The cinematography was great. I don't remember the cinematographer's name, but he's the same guy who ended up doing Dune,
Mandalorian. I think.
Mandalorian, a good handful of like really awesome projects. Even the music, I really liked the music in it. And I've heard a lot of trash talking about the theme for some reason, and they're wrong. So, yeah,
Because I think
thought
it was simple but effective and
Right.
powerful at the same time.
what it reminded me of kind of was Darth Vader's theme a little bit. Just that dun dun dun, but then it just kind of,
It's like a waltz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I just thought it was like that brooding, masculine, almost scary, powerful, what Batman's theme music should be.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thought everything in general. I can't get my chair right. There we go.
Fix your damn ass.
I'm glad that we record this so
I know.
everybody else can see how much you struggle on a daily basis.
Oh God, that's just who I am now. But yeah, I thought it was a good real life version of the same feel of the animated series. So where you still had, it wasn't quite real, but it was real enough. Like they grounded it just the perfect amount.
I dig that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was cool to see because a lot of that stuff being like the year 2 Batman, there's still a lot of experimental ideas that he has,
Right.
you know, and it's cool to see that, like the flight suit and all that. That whole scene, I was like, oh, is he gonna do the cape thing, whatever? And then he pops out that flight suit. I'm like, that's
Right.
like a real thing people do. That's like a proven thing. It's not fake. Like people do that shit.
I absolutely loved that entire scene.
Oh, it was amazing. I guess, and it's not even something that necessarily bothered me. Is like he got the shit kicked out of him so many times in the movie.
Yes.
I'm like, man, I don't know if somebody could walk away from that.
Right.
Like the parachute scene at the end of the flight scene when he got hung up on the bridge and
Oh, yeah.
slammed into the wall. I'm
Yep.
like, fuck, dude.
Right.
But I mean, it was really cool. As far as any of the other actors, as much as I really liked the Penguin and thought it was really well done, I don't know that they needed such a
Colin
big
Farrell?
name actor to do it.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's like the future coming up, but it's like he's got 30 pounds of makeup on, and acting completely different than he's acted before, which props to him. I mean, he did it really well. It was just like kind of like, why did they need Colin Farrell to do that? But
I think Colin Farrell requested that.
okay.
And let's face it, just like at the end of the movie, everybody needs their how did he word it? Everyone needs a good comeback.
I guess so. Yeah. Because in a way, that's kind of Colin Farrell's comeback to comic book movies after Daredevil.
Right.
Because he was like, he was the shit that was in Daredevil that everybody was like, oh god.
Right.
So I get that. Painful, just painful.
Oh man.
But no, he did a great job.
I don't want to interrupt you. I got to get back to that flight suit.
Yeah, go for
before I completely forget about this. When you think of Batman, and you think of like, this guy is like perched up on buildings, and you know, like he's like watching the criminals from above. When he climbed up on that roof and went, oh, and like backed away,
I was like, hold up,
lost it. And then he pulls the flight suit out, and you're like, okay, he's got experience. And he jumps off, and he's like, whoa! It's like, oh man, he has not tested this thing.
Yeah.
We are witnessing this. This is a emergency escape only, and this is the emergency he's testing it in.
Yeah.
And I loved that. Right. I loved the whole thing. Really loved the fact that he looked like, I'm gonna land on that bus, and then didn't.
He fucked it up. Yeah.
Because he does the flight suit, swoops under the bridge, flies up. Parachute, kills parachute, lands on the bus, turns around, looks up. Everybody's going to have a problem with it. That's like year 10 Batman.
Right.
You know, Robin and Nightwing are in tow, and they're like, what? He's like, yeah, I just did that. Year 1 or 2 Batman slams that bridge, man, and just flies down, hits the road, rolls, flips, slams again.
Yeah.
That's year 1/2 Batman.
Yeah. When watching it in the theaters, I had to like lean over to Tiffany and be like, Volkswagen. Like,
I want to see that clip again just to see the logistics of like where that whole suit comes out of. It was a little confused, but like I went with it, but I was like, where'd that come from?
And that's what I was saying, like how it was real ish, you know what I mean? Like that part wasn't. It's like in a video game when you're like carrying too much gear to run. Like where the hell do you put that? Like it doesn't show it on your character.
Yeah.
Just tuck it in your pants apparently, and good to go.
It inflated from his cape. His cape inflated. When he pulled that cord, his cape inflated, and then he reached back and connected his arms to the cape.
Okay.
Yeah, he zipped his cape into his suit.
Okay.
So it's a lot more. It's a lot
like,
more.
It looked
logistic.
like it made sense. It just I didn't have enough time.
He pulled that cord. He pulled that cord, and his cape filled full of air.
Okay.
It expanded. So that's where it came out of. It was his cape the whole time.
Okay.
And then when he was zipping it in, he was zipping his cape into his actual bodysuit.
Imagine him accidentally doing that during a street fight.
He'd probably do it. The wind blows, and he's just like, I'll be back for you.
Shit.
Do you have anything else to say about it, Jason?
No, that's about it. That's the whole movie right there.
Not the flight suit, the whole movie in general. I mean, I loved how vicious he was. Like, I love the fact that he wasn't the Batman. Everybody called him Vengeance.
Right.
I'm like, that's cool. Like, that is, eventually they'll know him as the Batman. But right now he's still kind of a myth in the darkness kind of thing, which was sweet. Yeah. And I like the explanation of the bat signal of like, not only is it a call for me, it's like a warning. And I know that's always been a thing,
right?
But it's just kind of giving that emphasis to it, and then being like, well, this is why. I really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
But,
what about you, PJ?
I absolutely loved this. I knew I was going to go and liking it. I absolutely loved this movie. I was trying to find something I didn't like about it, and it was mainly about the Riddler. I wanted more of a traditional Riddler. but the more I looked at it, the Riddler's suit is actually green. It's not black. It looks black in the film, but it is actually green, so whatever, I guess. I think it was so well written, and every time I thought this movie was going to end, there was still like an hour left.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God.
But in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved that when he came out as Bruce Wayne, he wasn't in like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
He's in a Stingray Corvette.
Yeah.
And not like a brand new one, just a vintage, like early 60s Stingray Corvette rolls up. I'm like looking at it like, what kind of European cars are you going to be driving now? And I'm like, oh my God. That's
gorgeous.
That's one of my favorite cars of all time.
Right.
And
yeah, when that happened, Tiff and I looked at each other and we're like, oh,
yeah. And I didn't really understand his bracers, because I was expecting the Batman spiked bracers in some fashion or form.
What? I think the quote unquote spikes on this set, I think they're straps. I think they're like tightened. I could be wrong. But...
No, I think you're right, because I didn't really even pay attention to see if it had spikes. Once, like the Ben Affleck, Christian Bale, they're prominent. They're showing them off.
Right.
And this one, they didn't really do any of that stuff. But these ones had like metal rods in them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if those are
armor.
Like armor.
Yeah.
Right.
And
or darts maybe is kind of like a thought I had. Maybe I don't
think
know.
That's kind of what it looked like. But I'm pretty sure, just like what you're saying, I'm pretty sure it was more so armor, just the steel rods kind of strapped in there, so that he can block.
The first big fight scene we see the Batman in, he uses his fingers to shock a dude.
Yeah, that was cool.
And I'm like, oh man, these are the gadgets that I've wanted to see. Like, this is the stuff. And then, a little bit later on, obviously we have the flight suit. And then a little bit later on, the Batarang comes out.
Yes.
And I'm like, where is he getting the Batarang? Then they show him put it back in his chest. And I'm like, oh, it's the bat signal.
That was such an interesting
symbol.
idea, yeah.
And
I loved that.
He got the shit beat out of him. And he pulls out the adrenaline shot, which looks a lot like Venom.
People are that's a big theory going around.
He pulls that port out of his suit. I'm like, what kind of little, like, expecting it to be like a little bomb or something, And it's just a port he pulls out so he can penetrate his suit. And I was like, oh man, that's sick, because again, like, he takes that adrenaline shot out, stabs himself. People are going to be like, oh, that other guy couldn't even get a bullet through him. Like, how's he stabbing through with a hypodermic needle? But he pulls that little port. I was like, that's smart.
It's attention to detail, yeah.
In the grappling gun. He used the grappling gun so much in this, and I absolutely loved the grappling gun.
Yeah.
I just like what you're saying. I loved all the toys in it, like, especially the bat signal. I thought that was the cool when he takes it out to cut that cable. I'm like, man, that is so cool. I'm really glad it didn't end up being like what everyone thought it was. Like, oh, that's
broken up
that's
gun.
The gun.
The broken up gun that killed his parents.
Which, if done right, could have been really cool. But I love that they turned it into an actual weapon that he uses.
Yeah,
that's so cool to me.
In this bat suit is definitely function.
Yeah,
right.
Over
you
form.
can tell that he can move so much better in it than the previous Batman designs. Like, you can tell it's made to move in, and I think I've even watched some of his interviews about it. Like yeah, he can do all the stunts, whatever. Where the old Batman suits, he can't turn very well.
Got the Michael Keaton head turn.
Yeah, and not trying to get too far, but the Batmobile itself just.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. I love our introduction scene. The Batmobile fires up and everybody's staring like, oh no. And then it stalls. And I was like, oh yeah. That's awesome.
Like, that's how much power is in it. He still can't control it just right.
Well, then I wanted to like learn more about this Batmobile, see an actual like walk around. It's a functional car. Like the jump scenes. Him jumping through that fire and landing.
Yeah.
That's that car actually jumping through the fire and landing.
So I was reading an article with that same kind of thing of in the scenes where they're showing him up close driving, which that car chase scene is my favorite car chase scene I've ever watched. I was literally at the edge of my seat.
It was Jason.
Okay.
That wasn't me.
I was just blaming it on
But
him.
I was literally at the edge of my seat going like, oh, you know. But in the up close scenes, it's actually him driving it about 100 miles an hour down like an air runway. Yeah.
There were 2 cars.
Okay.
And from what I understand, the car that he was driving in was an electric car.
Okay.
It
I
was
know
all
there's an electric one, yeah.
And then some of the other scenes, there's actually a guy sitting on top of the car driving, and Pattinson's just playing with the steering wheel. But
I did read about
that
him doing
interview.
like a lot of like courses and whatever and stunt driving to do a lot of that. So I don't know, but
I hope that he did all the driving.
yeah.
I really
Right.
do. And he might have just had the guy on the roof like at the beginning to kind of feel the car or something.
Right.
But I want to find out that he did all the driving. It was awesome. Like you said, it was an amazing chase scene. I love that when that car come flying out of the fire and landed, that
You
wasn't
saw the
CG.
fear.
That was a car coming out of fire.
Right. Freaking amazing. Dude, yeah.
It's great to see like what you just said. You could tell it wasn't CG. It's great seeing those real stunts happening again.
Right.
It's like it's so freaking tired of like that was obviously CG, moments.
And Matt Reeves is really good with that kind of stuff too, of just really pushing the limits of what you can do physically.
Yeah.
Which the one thing that I thought they could have done better or differently, or the one teeny tiny little nitpick I had about this movie, at the end of the car chase, there were no airbags going off in Penguin's car. That's literally the
It was an older car though, wasn't it?
No,
I don't
no.
remember.
Maserati.
The only
Was it?
teeny tiny, just douchebag move of a nitpick that I could possibly
Stop
think of
being
with
a
this movie.
douchebag, Josh.
No.
Well, they took all the airbags out and stuffed drugs in there.
Okay, that's what it was.
That's what,
Good
yeah,
call.
it was-
mean-
they took all that stuff out so they could put drops in it.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect
And
movie.
money.
Yeah.
Drops in money.
Drop some money.
Yep.
What did you guys think of the Catwoman?
I thought, again, like with everyone else, I thought she was perfectly cast. I thought the relationship between her and Batman was just perfect, with the tease of the attraction, but not trusting each other fully. I can't say enough good things about the cast in this movie. I thought she was wonderful.
I would agree with all that for the to be a more, from at least what I know, a little bit more of a comic accurate Catwoman situation, because I love Batman Returns.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
I love Michelle Pfeiffer, but that
She's
was
still number one.
Yeah, I mean, she was a crazy person dressed up like a cat is really what it was. But
Right.
I just enjoyed that. But to make it make more sense, yeah, I think they did a great job with it.
Well, I like and how we touched on earlier how Batman wasn't called Batman in this. I like how she wasn't Catwoman in this. Like, you know that she's Catwoman, but it was never like addressed. It was
Yeah.
just her, you know.
I absolutely. So, was it Dark Knight Rises that had Anne Hathaway Catwoman?
Yeah, we don't talk about her.
Oh.
Aw.
I know.
So, we see her dressed as a maid at the beginning. We see the safe is cracked. We see her turn around, jump out, and quickly change. And then later on, we see she's wearing some kind of glasses that flip up into cat ears.
Mm-hmm. Which I thought was smart. I really liked that, actually.
I did kind of like that. But when Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman, drops from the skylight, pulls her whip in, cracks the safe in front of you, is looking through it, and Batman's standing right behind her. You're pretty good at that. And she turns around, and then they get in a little fight, and then he silences her so the cops don't, know they're there.
Yeah.
And then they go on their business. That little drop in from the skylight takes her whip back, cracks that safe. I was like, perfect.
Yep.
Her little ski mask that has just the hint of ears.
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh,
I
yeah.
absolutely the costume design was amazing, and it's almost Have you guys seen Hush? Batman Hush.
I'm not really. I'm vaguely aware of Hush.
I know the story.
Okay, so this is a lot. This movie and the Hush animated movie are very close to aligning.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very similar movies. I loved that. I loved that about it, and I also saw some of like the Long Halloween in here.
Right.
I wish they would have done the Long Halloween. That would have been awesome.
Like just introduce some more of the Rogue Gallery and oh yeah.
They're working on it. I mean,
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming.
Right.
And I know that they hinted at the Long Halloween or something, like they intentionally threw a little bit in there or whatever.
Wasn't the mayor killed on Halloween in this?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So the mayor is killed on Halloween, and in the Long Halloween, the first kill happens on Halloween night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I would love to end up seeing something with, what was his name? Calendar Man?
Yeah.
Yeah. As lame a name as that is, I think it's a really I think it would fit really well in this universe of Batman.
Maybe. But the hints that this next movie might pit him up against the Court of Owls.
Mm-hmm.
The Court of Owls is one of my favorite storylines.
Yes.
I absolutely love the Court of Owls. I love the idea of the Court of Owls. I love that they all dress really nice and wear little owl masks. I absolutely love the Court of Owls. The Talon, if you line up the Talon next to Batman, like they were doing a lineup of this Batman suit compared to the Talon suit, they're close. Like his bracers, the Talon's bracers have those rods in it and stuff.
Right.
I would absolutely love to see the Court of Owls come into the next movie or movie after that somewhere. I'd love to see them tie in the Court of Owls because that would be so awesome to see on the big screen.
Well, even Robert Pattinson is saying, he's like, I would love for us to do that.
Yeah.
So, like, even the people involved in the film is like, man, I really want to do this. Which, actually, another thing that Matt Reeves was talking about is wanting to do Mr. Freeze in future movies. And I think that would be really cool to see Mr. Freeze actually get his due time in a movie would just be really cool.
That isn't Arnold Schwarzenegger?
That isn't. Yeah, we don't talk about that.
What?
Freeze!
Somebody posted a
Kick some ice.
a trailer from that Batman and Robin when it was like just coming out, and like the people were raving at how amazing it was, and it was and I'm like, really? Were we that foolish? Or I don't know.
Yes,
we were.
It was a new Batman movie.
Yeah.
We don't care how good it is or how bad it is.
It's funny because you're saying, did I need another Batman movie? Do we need another one this soon? It's like the way they're spaced out right now is actually farther apart than Keaton, Clooney, and Kilmer Batmans.
Yep.
Fair enough, yeah. As long as they're putting enough this type of thought and energy into it, they can make as many as they want. It's,
Right.
Yeah.
I think the the Clooney era kind of stuff is what really left a bad taste in people's mouths. Like, are they just gonna get, well, we'll just do another Batman movie. It'll be what, they're gonna get cheap with it. But
what are you trying to tell me, Barbara Gordon? No, she's gonna be Alfred's niece now.
Yeah,
She's
that
gonna
makes
be
sense.
Who's hot right now?
Barbara Pennyworth.
Get all of them.
I hated that. Even then, I was like, no, no.
Wrong
That's how I felt
Shoemaker.
when watching. It was the last Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie come out, and then they made it that April was like connected to the turtles when they were. I'm like, come on, we don't need connections everywhere. Like, that shit bothers the fuck out of me.
Well, and actually, that's what I really liked about the Batman. There wasn't any like huge surprises or spins that like the comic book fans didn't expect. If you're a casual moviegoer, yeah, there's definitely some things in there where it's like, what? But like the whole, Catwoman being related to Falcone. That's something that's happened, Like, if you know your Batman lore, that's a thing.
I didn't know that if it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was cool.
All right.
I think they could have done a little different than that. However, Falcone's glasses he wore the whole time are so awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted those so bad. I was just sitting there like, damn, this dude's like sunglasses
That's
all
one
the time.
stylish motherfucker.
I did love the castings. Even Colin Farrell as Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it.
Yeah, he did a great job.
And there was a lot of... I started looking, like I said, I started looking more into all this after the fact, but I didn't know that at one point Jonah Hill was tied to this.
Yes.
And I want to say Jonah Hill was to be the Riddler. And at that point, I think they were trying to cast... who's going to write and direct the new Seth Rogen. They were trying to cast him as the Penguin.
Ew.
Yeah.
Just imagine him laughing.
What are you doing,
Batman?
I like Seth Rogen enough,
Right.
but yeah,
Now
it's gonna turn into.
now I
a
want to
stoner
see
thing.
this stuff.
Penguin, are you okay? Yeah.
Are you trying to start a weed whacker in there? What's going on?
That'd be great.
We love you, Seth Rogen.
What did you guys think of the contact lens that he wore?
I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
very impressed by that. I thought that was such a cool idea, and that's probably a thing that's a reality. I would assume. I'm not sure.
I've seen that in like Mission Impossible movies and stuff like that, where they do the facial recognition and everything
Right.
through that.
Yeah.
So, as believable it is in that universe, you know, these are like top spies. Well, this is a billionaire that has a portion of his company in tech.
Mm-hmm.
So it is believable that he has
Yeah,
his
it makes
contact
sense.
lens.
And it's real enough, once again. You know?
When he was looking at the cipher at the mayor's house, when he was looking at the cipher, I'm like, oh, I bet you there's some kind of camera on his suit. And he's not going to need that, like, to take that. And then he gets back and pulls the contact out. And I was
Right.
like, oh, sick.
Yeah.
That's so much better.
Well,
I expected almost like a body cam,
Right.
but it was the contact lens. It is weird, though, that the contact lens picks up audio.
True.
However, I don't give a shit.
Right.
I absolutely love it. I love the whole idea of it.
Well, and I like
Wasn't
how...
that a separate earpiece or something? I could be wrong. I thought there was a separate earpiece.
Maybe
for the audio.
maybe
you know what? I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe he
Yeah.
had the earpiece in to pick up the audio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Now I'm-
I think Catwoman was talking about that, and he kept ensuring her, like, no one's going to see anything. Just act
Yeah.
normal, you know.
Yeah.
Like, trust me on this one. This is what I use. But I think it also showed, like, how deliberate everything Batman did was for a reason. Like, what he looked at, how he walked, everything was very deliberate,
Yeah.
purposeful, and I loved that.
Yeah, another part of that opening scene, or the mayor scene, when he walks over and looks down at something and then looks at the person taking the camera and turns around and walks away, and the forensic person comes over and takes a picture where he was looking.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
That was
and,
good.
and the cop that was like, whoa, what are you doing here, freak, and stuff like that. And then later that same cop sees Bruce
Hey,
Wayne,
Bruce
and he's like,
Wayne.
Bruce Wayne, what's up?
Yeah.
I was dying at that
Right.
moment. But everybody's kind of, nobody is for him at this point, except for
Except for Gordon, really.
yeah, Commissioner Gordon, and he's like the only one that's fully supporting the Batman, and all these other people are kind of like standoffish. But that scene when she walks over and takes the picture just cracked me up.
Which, the relationship between Batman and Gordon, I thought was wonderful.
Yeah. It was,
It was
really
like
cool.
that untrusting friendship, but you trusted just enough. And it's like, okay, let's see where this goes. I trust you, you know?
Who played Gordon?
Jeffrey Wright.
What a casting there.
Yeah.
Believable enough to be a police commissioner, trying to do the right thing, and just the way he moved, he's tired, he's overworked, and I just was like, man, I'm sucked in.
Yeah.
Like, you are Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
I loved it.
There were some people out there where, you know, the whole complaining about, like, race swapping and stuff like that. But, like, with Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, everybody was just kind of like, you know what? Okay, yeah, let's see what happens here. Like, everybody likes him. But I thought it was just a great, very smart casting.
Yeah. And interesting, like, going back to, like, kind of his deliberate movement around and stuff like that. Like, not only did it make him creepier in the room, you know, it's just like, this guy's just being weird and just skulking
Not
around
really
and
talking.
looking at things. And then to find out that he's, like, trying to basically do Steadicam to record everything.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Right.
And so the tool, the murder weapon, I was like, what the hell is that? I was glad that was addressed. And
Yeah.
like I'd never seen that tool before, and I don't work with carpet much, but like I work in the field, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Like,
Well,
I know I should know what that is.
I've seen it before, but I'm still looking at it like, I know I should know what this is.
I've
But
never
why
seen
did
it,
he
and
use
to
that?
be honest, I thought it was possibly at the very first sight of it, I thought it may have been an axe handle or an axe head that he had taken off the handle somehow, and was just using it as a blunt object.
Which would
I
be
had no
really
idea.
weird and
Yeah.
interesting thing to do. Huh.
You're welcome.
Put that on the board.
On my
on the
next
board.
killing spree before I
Yeah.
play Skyrim.
Yeah.
But I had no idea what it was either, and I like that he confused you on purpose and then gave it back to you.
Yeah.
I think we could, to be 100% honest, I think we could have done away with the map on the floor. I think that could have been.
Okay.
I think that could have been a little different setup. Like, I was kind of expecting him to rip the floor up and find like a stash of maps and plans and shit hidden in the floor.
Instead
But-
of just like drawn out.
He's got it drawn out, and then if you notice, the lights start blinking.
Right.
Um,
Which, I mean, he did that so that it would be found. He wanted it to be found by Batman and wanted it to be very plain and simple once found, you know? Like, that was like the end game for Batman to come see him, basically.
yeah, and I mean, that would have been like comic-y, I guess, like in a comic book. The whole seawall thing was wild, and a lot of people were like, how unresponsible would it be if a van exploding could take down the seawall? But if you're like paying attention at the beginning, there's the renewal fund like cut funding to the seawall and had to stop construction. So
there's
the
weak
seawall
points, yeah.
wasn't complete.
Yeah.
I
Which,
thought that was pretty cool.
Again, was just a really
Yeah.
smart little tidbit that you might not
Yeah.
have seen, but it was still there, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
I can't say enough good things about this movie, honestly.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about the thumb drive, though?
oh my god, I lost it. What was the build up to
the
that?
thumb
What
drive.
was the
Okay, I
build up to
remember.
that? It just said drive.
Right. And he was missing his thumb.
Yeah, we knew he was missing his thumb, and
The clue was drive, so
Drive.
they checked out his car.
he pulls the thumb drive out. I was dying when he goes thumb drive.
Oh, he's hilarious.
What a master detective you are.
I just like
Yeah,
how
that was
even in
good.
like a criminal mastermind universe, bad puns are truly appreciated.
Well, like, you have to appreciate the fact that not only did the Riddler come up with thumb drive, you need the thumb to unlock the drive,
Right.
but then the Batman says thumb drive. I absolutely loved it. It was perfect.
Can you, with future Riddler stuff, can the Batman just do eye rolls? Like, oh god.
Like, not this
I
again.
hope so.
I don't think he can. No,
This
he's always got to
fucking
do
guy.
it seriously, but I would love to see that. Just like, oh, for fuck's sake, come on.
I mean, that's kind of what they did with the thumb drive, though. There was that pause and just,
Yeah.
this motherfucker. Huh.
So as far as like the Riddler, like what you were saying, kind of wished it was a little bit more closer to the comics or whatever. And I was the same way too. I still kind of am, but like I understand. I guess like the mask and everything, it was the actor's decision to like do that. It was like his idea, and like he wrapped his head in plastic and then put the mask on and had to cut the plastic out because you'll pass the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
And the
But it was
plastic was
interesting.
100% DNA.
Right, like to
keep the
keep your hair
DNA
down.
Yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense.
Because I was a little confused when they were showing like the computer monitor.
It said, "Don't forget the Saran wrap."
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is the Saran wrap guys do? And then they showed his followers. I'm like, okay,
It was to
got
keep
it.
his hair
Yeah.
in the plastic. It was to keep all DNA off, so it was completely
Right.
unsolvable. Because even the Batman says, no prints, no DNA, no anything.
Yeah. And at this point, like, I feel like now that they know who he is, he doesn't have to hide his identity.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you can kind of really delve into the Riddler, you know?
Right.
So I think that'll be really cool.
Like they know who he is, but how are they going to catch him next time?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm very curious to see how the next Joker's going to go. I mean, we've been going through some Jokers, but...
And
I'm
I feel
glad-
like a big thing is probably going to be in the next movie is going to be the Joker and Riddler team up.
Yeah.
But like this movie with all the extras, it would be cool to see. It would be cool to see like a Clayface.
Oh, that'd be dope as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of hard in the universe that they're in, I think. It might feel weird.
Probably.
But Clayface is one of those, like, I would love to see a live-action Clayface.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that'd be so cool.
It would be absolutely
Especially
awesome.
if they can get into that, okay, what hasn't been done yet?
Right.
Let's bring something out that hasn't been seen.
But even a Joker Riddler first half, like, oh, these two have escaped and you've got to stop them, and then the second half would be like Mr. Freeze or a Poison Ivy character or something like that.
And actually, now that you say that, it kind of, the Joker Riddler thing, them escaping, really kind of adds to where these other villains are going to come from. They're, blow a huge hole in the side of Arkham.
Yeah.
That's like, oh, we now have reasons to bring these people into the picture, which is pretty cool.
And speaking of your connections, did they not connect Martha Wayne to the Arkhams?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Arkham is also like part of Bruce
Wayne's
Wayne's
legacy
Right.
or
legacy,
whatever.
yeah.
That intertwining of.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
not even
interesting.
just like Wayne Industries or whatever they call it. Wayne
Enterprises, I
Wayne
think, or
Enterprises,
whatever.
maybe.
Yeah.
It's not only that revenue source, but I'd imagine the Arkhams would also be part of that revenue source as well.
Right.
So Arkham Asylum, anything related to Arkham would also be a money flow for
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne. So that
Which
might
is
also explain where.
Still like a great thing for like Court of Owls, like the rich and the powerful. Hey, we got all this on lockdown. You just don't know it yet,
And even, I mean, like, what's more powerful than the Arkhams and the Waynes in a
Right.
Gotham City
Yeah.
scenario?
Right. Which I think going back to the whole Joker thing, they were originally going to use him as almost like a Hannibal Lecter. So where Batman was going to go to him
I'd read about that.
to
yeah.
figure out how the Riddler thinks and what the Riddler's next target is. I think if they kept him as like a Hannibal type character, even if they escape, but he's using these other villains like the Riddler as a pawn, with how smart the Riddler is just showing that just showing that the Joker is still one step ahead. I think would be really cool.
That
like
is a cool idea, yeah.
He's intelligent, but he's also batshit crazy.
Some of my absolute favorite Joker storylines have been just Joker absolutely nuts
Right.
and lucking into a lot of stuff and laughing the whole time he's getting beat up. He's not getting frustrated with the Batman. He's having fun.
Right.
Like, those are some of my favorite Jokers.
Well, like Green Goblin and Spider-Man we were talking about in the
I was
last
thinking that,
podcast.
yeah.
Just like, he don't care. He's chaos. That's it. And loving every minute of it.
Yeah.
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 Like you do.
Like you do.
I feel like there's so much to talk about, but at the same time, I feel like we've gotten so many points done already.
Trying to think who else was in this.
Well, let's talk briefly about the point where Batman realizes that he's not a tool of vengeance, but maybe an inspiration of hope and justice.
That's a cool
That
turning
was like
point,
a
yeah.
clear. That was like a clear point in the film where you see him change, and I
Right.
thought that's something that we honestly haven't seen.
Yeah.
Because we had this like aggressive, in your face brute Batman
Right.
that everybody's afraid of. The subway, he beats up these like jokery looking guys, and then the guy that was being beat by them that he has stopped says,
Was
please
still
don't hurt
scared.
me.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that was like a big thing. Everybody's afraid of the Batman, not even just the criminals.
Right.
And he's saying it about his bat signal. It's, not just a call for me, but it's a sign that I'm coming for them.
Yeah,
Right.
warning.
It's
yeah.
also like your everyday average citizen is also seeing this and being like, oh man.
Even they're scared of the shadows.
Yeah.
You know?
And I absolutely also loved that introduction when the light is on and the guy looks and then he looks at the dark
Right.
alley and he's just like, I'm going to go a different way now. But seeing Batman more turn into this tool of justice or hope for this Gotham City, and seeing the people come to him and the kid like holding him and
Right.
him like gripping the kid's hand like you're going to be okay.
That was the moment where the citizens start going, okay, all right, maybe we can trust him now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
like,
though he
I
just saved all of us.
absolutely loved that.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved that. I can't wait to see kind of more of a, and that is very much like year one. Dog's going bananas.
Jesus.
That is very much like year one, year two Batman kind of stuff, and
Grandpa!
then seeing maybe in the next film a little bit more mature Batman trying to work with people and protect people more, and people getting his back more.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a lot of. I mean, we saw that a little bit in Batman vs Superman, where initial sighting of the Batman, the cop shot at him because they were scared too.
Yeah.
But other than that, I feel like even in the older Batman movies, they're like, we better call Batman. Better get Batman down here. It's Mr. Freeze, Batman.
As long as they start talking about like 1940s newscasters, I'm good with that.
We've been through this, I think, when we talked about when I did the radio voice for the Bad Candy podcast.
Yeah.
But that's what the Commissioner Gordon from those movies
Yeah,
is like.
right.
He's like, oh, we're not going up against Mr. Freeze. Hey, Batman, Mr. Freeze is on the corner of 9th and 32nd. You might want to get down there. Well, I'm going to go get a hot chocolate.
You do have to admit, like, the Michael Keaton era Batman and like all the other that Commissioner Gordon from those movies
Was like totally
so-
useless.
Yeah, it was such a painful character, like
Right.
just to be there. I'm behind the door.
It's not me, it's Louie.
Oh,
What's up?
Hi, I just want to say hi, I'm home.
Hi.
Hi,
Nobody cares.
Guys. Hi, guys.
hi.
Hello.
We heard the dogs going absolute insane.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Sorry.
You're fine.
Alright.
Bye.
Louie's almost in there.
I got it.
Bye.
Bye.
Grandpa.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
That Commissioner Gordon was very much, well, I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Batman's here.
He's like, I'm a cop. Is that what I do? I don't know.
I get a lot of money to be in this film. What film, Commissioner Gordon?
What?
What? I do gotta say, like, one of the more surprising points in the movie was when the neck bomb went off. I didn't expect that. And then the fact that it went off, like, in his face, basically, I was like, oh, shit.
Which,
That was another point of, like,
let's face it, he should have some tan lines after that.
yeah, yeah.
Well, not only the neck bomb goes off, but he wakes up surrounded by police.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool. Like,
And initially starts beating the shit out of the police.
yeah.
and just going
And it's like,
crazy.
bring it on, motherfuckers.
And
kinda.
seeing like his tactics behind that. So he's surrounded by police. He fights off enough that he can get his back against the wall, and he's going back and forth like that. That little bit of that
tactic
scene too was just like, oh yeah, that's what would happen. That's what you'd want to happen.
Yeah.
Which, let's face it, that right after that's one of my favorite parts in the movie, where Gordon's like,
Could have pulled the punch.
punch me.
He's like, these are the keys that are gonna get you to the roof. Now punch me. And they're both like looking out there, and the people and the cops and detectives that were all outside are like, what are they looking at us for? It's like,
But yeah, like, you could have pulled that punch.
I did.
It's like I did, yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome. And another thing that we didn't even talk about was the whole chase scene with the penguin. So the entire chase scene, so badass. To get the penguin and do this, what he says, good cop, batshit crazy cop. Just to leave the penguin there. And he's just like, hey. Like, the penguin being announced, you're sitting there thinking like, oh yeah, the penguin's gonna do some shit in this movie, and he did absolutely nothing. Right. He was just a dude. He was a dude in 30 pounds of makeup.
Yeah.
But yeah, just hey,
He's not in charge of anything.
Don't forget about me. Are you gonna let me out of this? I ain't talking.
They just peel out. Like, well, screw that guy.
That was great. Yeah, that was good.
I did want to talk about. Okay, we did talk about the Flash movie coming out, right? Just a little bit. We touched on
We
it.
touched on it a little bit.
That they are bringing Keaton's Batman back in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is going to be sick.
And he's actually going to be in the Batgirl movie. Like, he's going to be the Batman in that movie.
There's a Batgirl movie?
There's going to be a Batgirl movie.
I didn't know about that.
And they released his new suit for that movie. I assume it's going to be like she's got like flashbacks to
maybe.
training under him. But man, this suit's actually pretty cool.
I want to see Keaton, old man Batman.
Just fucking
I want
shit
to
up.
see. Okay, so these two movies maybe lead into a movie
Give
where
us
Keaton
Terry.
has to hand over the title.
Give us Terry.
Give us Terry McGinnis, like, now.
Yes.
And he's old man Batman, and he can't do this anymore. And that would be so sick. I need to see a Batman Beyond movie. Even if it's not, like, super future like they had it.
Right.
Even if it's just kind of like maybe 10 years into our future. So the gadgets are a little better, but, like, putting his fingers on the glass. Did you guys watch all of Batman Beyond?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a
Okay,
while.
so
yeah.
he had the jetpack thing. Like, I didn't really necessarily think he needed that, but adding in like maybe some thrusters to get him to jump somewhere and glide, that would be cool. But he could put his fingers on glass and it would be a microphone tap, and he could hear.
I
what they're
remember that.
talking
Yeah,
about.
that was
Didn't he
cool.
have? He could go invisible.
Yeah,
Active
he had-
camouflage. He had.
Did he?
I
I'm
don't
pretty sure he
remember.
had
I can't
active
remember.
camouflage as well. Because you're looking at this as an untrained teenage kid. He needed to have these extra
Right.
things. So
he
I'm pretty
was
sure
very
he didn't like,
tech involved.
and he didn't necessarily move through the shadows like a trained ninja assassin.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he had the active camo.
Okay.
Well, one thing that's kind of cool I just thought of is not only... Because really, I think Keaton is at the same rough age that Bruce Wayne was in Batman Beyond, I think,
No.
anyways. I think he's
Bruce
supposed
Wayne
to...
in Batman Beyond was in his like 80s.
Oh, was he?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in his. He was supposed to be like super old, like
Okay.
late 70s, early 80s.
Really old,
they could
like
leave
40.
Still like
so old.
getting the
Just-
shit beat out of him
Yeah.
too.
But what's kind of neat is it'll be in the future, future from the 90s films, but because that Gotham was very much not, like, that was a very comic-y Gotham. Very stylized
The
Gotham.
Burton
Yeah, so,
Gotham,
like,
okay.
bringing that Gotham into the future, even to, like, now future, quote-unquote, like,
That could be cool.
that could
Yeah.
be cool in itself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I do love seeing Gotham with, like, the statues and stuff, like that whole, like, look of Gotham I thought was really cool.
Well, that's what I loved
love
about
Burton's Gotham.
Yeah.
the Gotham in the Batman. I thought honestly was probably my favorite Gotham too.
The only thing about the Batman Gotham City, and it might just be me, but in real life, I always think of Gotham City being like in New Jersey somewhere. In Metropolis being the city across the river, being
Right.
New York City.
Yeah.
And this was very much New York City.
Okay.
They had the giant triangle building that was
Right.
the Continental and John Wick is
Yeah.
in New York City. That building was the building that he rode the motorcycle around.
Right.
It had the giant TVs on. That was that building. So this was
Gotcha.
very much New York City.
Okay.
I feel like it could have been a little bit
Little.
of its own.
Yeah.
I understand you don't have to build a set if you've got a city, but at the same time, like, I wish they would have used maybe a different city. Maybe like a Youngstown. Matt Reeves,
Yeah.
wink wink. But, I mean, they've shot quite a few films out of Youngstown lately, and they've shot when I was Salem. So, more a wider span Youngstown, like with that downtown infrastructure, even Pittsburgh, actually,
Right.
which is a lot of the
Well, in the
Christopher
Dark Knight
Nolan.
Rises, right?
movie was Pittsburgh was used a lot.
Dark Knight, I think, was Chicago. Dark Knight Rises was, I think, Pittsburgh.
Rise of the
Okay.
Dark Knight, or is
Yeah.
it Dark Knight Rises?
Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember them filming in Pittsburgh for that.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could all have gone. That would have been sick. But that part of the whole thing was kind of like understandable. They need to be on a coast to have a seawall. I wanted it to be a little bit different. I wanted visually it to be a little bit different than
Yeah,
like
the
iconic.
feel-
Because didn't they even call the Gotham like sports arena? Didn't they call it the Garden?
I don't remember. I didn't
I think
mental
they just
note
called
that.
it the arena.
I feel like when Catwoman, when the water rushed at her feet,
They
I
may
felt
have.
like the cop said, "You need to get into the Garden,"
They may have.
like
I don't
Madison Square
remember.
Garden.
Yeah.
Right. The feeling I had got from it was a dirty old shitty town
It's New York
that
City.
was well,
Yes.
fair enough.
Riddled with garbage,
Right.
rampant with homeless people. It's New York City.
It's New York City.
Yeah.
Fair
Gotham, New York City. I guess it's one and the same
Same
anyways.
thing.
Yeah.
So maybe Metropolis is in New Jersey, and I've just been backwards the whole time.
But yeah, I did. That's one of the big things I liked about the Burton Gotham was it was Gotham. You know, it wasn't.
Mhm.
It wasn't. Oh, that's Chicago. You know, whatever. I know that road. You know, kind of
Right.
thing. Like it was Gotham.
And I
That's
mean,
the big thing. I liked.
Realism-wise, it is cool seeing things that we recognize in those movies.
Right.
But the ridiculousness of even what is it, Joel Schumacher?
Mm-hmm.
The ridiculous giant statues holding bridges up. I like that
It is
stuff
really
too.
cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought visually that was cool too.
If they could have
Except for
interesting,
when
yeah.
Mr. Freeze drives up the arm. I didn't really care for that. But
well, if
I
they
mean,
could have brought like the Wayne penthouse into the city more, because that Wayne penthouse was just so gothic and Gothamy, it was ridiculous.
that could
That
be
was
the
really
future,
cool.
could
Wasn't
be the
that like
future
in
movie.
the city, like basically right off of the fucking like the park or whatever, like
I know it was
Are
more
we
in
speaking,
the city.
Are we speaking of
the Batman?
this the Batman
Yeah.
or
Right. The new one.
Christian Bale? Because
No, the
he
new
had
one.
the penthouse too. When
Right.
the mansion burned down, he had the penthouse in
Yeah.
there.
Right.
But I felt like I don't recall seeing like a Wayne Manor that
It was the
like,
orphanage.
That's where the Wayne Manor is where Alfred got blown up.
That was the penthouse. The Wayne Manor was when the Waynes died, they donated the manor as an orphanage. That's what the orphanage was. Or, I'm sorry, it wasn't like after they died. They donated it to that and got the penthouse in the city.
See, I was
Okay.
confused because I thought Wayne Manor was where Alfred got blown up.
No, that was the penthouse. I mean, it was super gothic-y with like black chandeliers and shit. But I would totally live there. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was the woodwork was pretty dope. Like just
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's spikes and curly things everywhere. I love
But
That must have taken hours to make
Right.
that mantle.
it. Right.
but I like now that it's blown up. Obviously, now he can go back to this abandoned orphanage.
It wasn't blown up because that's the room that he spray painted the floor.
I guess a portion of it would have been.
Only that room was basically just scorched.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when he spray painted the floor was scorched black.
Yeah.
And that's
Okay.
when he painted
Yeah.
the stuff on the floor. And I was thinking that whole time he's painting that stuff on the floor, man, I hope they don't have to come back for like, other pictures for evidence or anything. And they
Right.
see this, well, what's going on here, Riddler?
Right.
Like, no, I can explain. I'm not the Riddler. I'm
Somebody
I'm the
else.
Riddler.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
got
guess
me.
I'm gonna have to be the Riddler for this one.
Which, when he thought that the Riddler had found out who he was,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that was so tense.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there. He's like looking at the camera, looking back at him, looking at the camera. I'm like, yeah, that thing's still running.
He's got you, man.
That was a
a
very
big-
interesting. I did like how unpredictable a lot of this stuff was.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean I wasn't necessarily trying to figure it out. I guess I was in any case of watching a movie, but like none of it to me was obvious or
Right.
you know,
Well,
easy.
it was very straight. The whole movie was pretty straightforward. There wasn't any like huge twists and turns. It was just a very good story being told.
It was a
Yeah.
very murder mystery.
Yeah.
It was a detective story, which I love because the world's greatest detective.
Right. We've never seen that.
And you're seeing him develop his detective skills now. Like you're watching him become the world's greatest detective, which I absolutely loved too.
Right.
Which is something that I had a big problem with in some of the other movies. Was like he's not detective enough.
He's a superhero. you
Yeah,
know?
they tapped on it a little bit with Nolan.
A little,
in, like
yeah.
Dark Knight or whatever, but not a lot.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's weird looking back because even then it was like, oh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. And now it's kind of like, so Bruce Wayne just went to his store and bought all of his stuff. The tumbler. He didn't build that. He bought it and painted it black. He even asked, does it come in black?
Which is still
Yeah.
sweet,
Yeah.
but it's definitely that different feel.
The suit. An advanced suit. They cut the plug on. Everything except for the cow was from
Wayne
Wayne
Enterprises.
Technology. Or
Yeah.
Wayne Enterprise, yeah. I don't know why I keep saying Wayne Technology.
You'd think there'd be enough people to be like, hey, isn't that
Isn't
you
that
know.
that cape that he's wearing? Isn't that R&D project that I designed last year?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of touched on that in The Dark Knight.
the
The one
auditor.
guy, yeah.
The accountant.
He's like, wait a minute, wasn't this ours? And it's like, you're going to get
Our
beat up by a
$40
crazy
million
guy.
$40 million advanced jumper car.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Me.
To touch on your penthouses and stuff, Ben Affleck's Batman, that little place he lived in, has possibly been one of my favorite places Batman's ever lived.
Yeah.
That little lake house, I absolutely loved
yeah.
that place.
Yep.
I thought that was badass.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And he was very much a seasoned Batman,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
but I really liked that. I thought it was kind of weird that he decided that the Justice League Hall of Justice would be on his property.
Right.
in the shambles of Wayne Manor there. It was the
Yeah.
Great Ballroom or whatever. He decides it's going to be the Hall of Justice. It's like, that would be kind of suspicious, pal.
But at the
Good
same time,
point.
it's like, you know what? You guys can fly. You got superpowers. You got super strength.
Make sure
We're gonna
no
use my
one
table.
follows you here
Right.
to my property.
At the same time, he's gonna be like, I'm gonna have a way to kill them all in this room.
Right.
So
True.
if I need to, I'm gonna pull the plug on this whole operation. So maybe it's a control issue thing.
That's one of
I
my
don't
favorite
know.
things about Batman.
Yeah. He always has a way to kill everyone
Yep.
if he has to.
They all get offended after they've done it too. Like
Right.
Superman goes rogue, Batman stops him. The Flash goes rogue, Batman stops him, and they're just like, "What the hell? How long have you had this?" "Since I met you."
Since the beginning.
Yeah, and they're like, "What? Why would you need this?" I
needed it.
just did it.
Yeah.
I just showed you why I needed it. Oh well. Do we have anything else we want to touch on?
As far as the Batman, I think I'm good.
So what's your guys' review on it?
Oh, I'd buy the shit out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely adding to collection.
100%.
Perfect.
I can't wait for it to. I just saw something about it coming on. I want to say HBO Max
Probably.
in April
A lot
or
of the DC
late March,
stuff.
something like that.
Well-
Well, they have that deal with Warner Brothers, so all Warner
Yeah.
Brother properties.
Well, they're coming out with the Penguin series for HBO Max.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
And like
Batman-
showing his rise to power and
and the
everything.
Batman will be. It'll be on there streaming,
Mhm.
so I can't wait for that. I
Yeah.
can't wait till I can watch this
I'll
like
watch
a
it another
bajillion
15 times.
Yeah, I love it.
Nice.
I like I said, I really can't come up with very much stuff I didn't like about this
Yeah.
film. I absolutely
Oh.
loved it. I'm dying to see more.
The running down the building thing as like a
Dude.
hat tip to Adam West. I was
Yeah.
like, yes.
Yeah,
And the way they shot it was really cool too. Just
Yeah.
like running over the camera basically and flip it upside down kind of thing. Oh man, so cool.
It's like, what does he do? Oh,
Oh.
like that was cool. Yeah.
and I liked his bike too. I liked
Yeah.
I liked his vehicles in this movie a lot.
All his tech was super sweet. Yeah.
I liked
Super
the whole, I guess the whole aspect of Ninja Bruce Wayne we didn't touch on at all. Where he's
Oh,
just
yeah.
he's just got his face covered and his eyes darkened, hood up. He's riding this old like cafe racer style bike. He's got the vintage full face helmet on.
Yeah.
I loved
I
those
loved that.
parts. I thought those were some of my favorite. I could have even gone with more of that. Like I could have seen more.
Yeah.
Well, because he was still Batman at that moment. It's just he wasn't wearing his his suit, his
Yeah.
mask.
It's like
but
he was in
still
disguise
full Batman mode.
as a normal person.
Right.
Which do you guys remember the animated series when he's like Matchsticks Malone?
Yeah.
He's just got a
Yeah.
mustache.
Yeah.
He's- tell
the
me
worst
more
disguise.
about. Tell me more about this bad guy you hang out with. You're asking a lot of questions for being the new guy. Oh yeah, I'm Matchsticks Malone.
He's
Can't
like,
you see my mustache? It's like, I like so badly would love to like. So it can't be close friends, obviously, because you guys would know in a heartbeat. Like Bruce Wayne's clout, people know who he is, but
Right.
maybe not recognize him so much in person. I want so badly to go to a group of people that know who I am, but don't possibly don't know me
Yeah.
like
With just
personally,
like goofy disguise.
with like a crazy mustache, and just see if they're like PJ. Be like, no, Matchsticks Malone.
Well, it's like
You're not
Steve
PJ.
Buscemi dressed up like to infiltrate a high school. Like, hello, fellow students. Tell me all you know.
What
you
was
know?
that on?
Oh God, I don't know. It's just that
Yeah,
classic
yeah.
thing. Everyone knows it, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought some of that stuff, like him ripping across like him and Catwoman, like ripping around on their motorcycles in the rain and stuff. I thought that was cool. I did think it possibly rained a little too much in this place, especially for like East Coast, early November.
Right.
I thought there was quite a bit of rain going on.
They did that on purpose, and I'm trying to remember the reason. It had to do with like it was like symbolism of trying to wash away the grime and the evil and the crime in the city, whereas towards the end of the movie the sun's out finally.
Okay.
They've kind of done away and kind of started over, but now the real work is to be done. So
Okay.
I think it was more of a symbolism thing than anything.
Plus, I mean, I guess the movie spanned what, a week. I think
It was a few
roughly
days.
What it was. I
It was
think
only
like
the
7
course of
days
a
or-
few days.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I mean,
raining for
I
3-4
guess it makes
days,
sense,
and
yeah.
Yeah, because we didn't get any Christmas stuff or Thanksgiving stuff in this.
no, yeah,
Mm-mm.
because he told the dates, and I think it was just basically like a week.
At
or
most
something.
a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take that nitpickiness.
Absolutely good film.
Yeah.
I guess I shouldn't say I suggest anybody hearing this to go see it, because if you've listened to this, if you've listened to this,
You've probably seen it.
already seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Seen it?
You seen it.
You seen
You
it.
done seen it.
I did really like the touch of Arkham, though, because we haven't really seen Arkham in any other movies. We've heard it, but seeing him go to Arkham and stuff like that was cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's all I got to say about that. It's all I got
That's
to
all
say
I
about
have to say
that.
about that.
All right. Well, I'm sure we got some movies coming up, like Morbius. We got they just pushed back a lot of the DC films.
What?
Yeah, into 2023.
Uh,
The Flash, Black Adam,
when did they do this?
like within the past week.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they just announced the release dates of all those.
Yeah.
We'll have to look it up.
Man,
Yeah. They just pushed, like 2-3 days ago. They just pushed them back.
I feel like you're lying.
That's dumb.
You're a liar.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we'll definitely have something, I guess.
And we still got a couple movies we have already watched to do.
True.
Some-
Black Adam and Flash and Aquaman probably saw this film and was like, we need rewrites now. We got to change some stuff. Ours movies are not going to release against that.
Anytime these comic book movies raise the bar, it's like yes,
Right.
yes.
As
give
long
it
as
to us.
DC keeps doing it, because they've had a terrible track record starting out.
And this is going to be the new... Robert Pattinson's universe is going to be what they build off of from here on out.
Nope.
I don't know. I've heard both.
not-
I've heard like
This one's purposely removed from the DCEU.
See, and just
But I
not
wish it
even a week
wasn't.
ago, I heard they were stemming everything off of this movie from here on out.
I think they were stemming everything off of the Flash movie, with Michael Keaton kind of being that leader figure.
I guess
Because they're still having
the
Ben
way you were
Affleck.
talking about Keaton being in Batgirl and the Flash and stuff like that. I guess you are right about that. It does make more sense.
Which, as long as they use that as a nice little soft reboot of the universe, I'm down. Like, just do it right, build upon your characters, let's get something good out there. And I'm down for that.
Multiverse of Madness.
Hell yes.
I can't wait for
Still stoked for that. Yeah.
I need to catch up on Peacemaker also. That,
yeah.
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I'm like, God, I have to watch this show.
Right. Dude, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's real fun.
What else? And that's like Peacemaker was kind of like a big like, yeah, we're gonna do the Penguin series because this has been such a success or whatever.
that. I still not even interested one bit in seeing anything about the Peacemaker. And
I
I love
wasn't
John
either.
Cena. It's not anything about that.
Yeah.
I just
It's
not interested
funny,
at all.
yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't very interested. I threw it on one night just for shits and giggles, and I'm like, oh,
I
this
didn't
is
even
way better.
I didn't even really care for his character in Suicide Squad.
The
I did.
series
I liked it.
is better for his character than the movie was.
I still have no interest in
Yeah,
him.
no,
I
fair
don't even know why. Normally I eat this stuff up, but I have absolutely no interest in that.
Well, all right, y'all. I think we've jibber jabbed enough.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up right around here. Again, thanks for listening. Stay tuned for some more episodes coming out. Once again, this is Josh,
This is Jason.
PJ.
and have a great one. Bye.
Bye. I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.